Okay, well, hello again. Welcome to Living and Active. This is pure experimentation at this point. I'm going to put this video in the Rolling Towards Eternity playlist. I realized earlier today that, see, I've made so many starts on disability related content, whether it be playlist on one channel or a channel in its own right, that I forget what I have and have not covered, that people that come to this um, channel actually have access to hearing. And so I went back on the Rolling Towards Eternity playlist and realized that I only had one other video beyond the one I recorded yesterday. And then I watched that video and I realized that I haven't said anything on this channel yet that I've covered anywhere else. So rather than trying to hurry up and um, recover lost ground, I thought it would be interesting to show, to demonstrate, or to just have a little experiment, basically, in how my filming is set up. And we're going to type. I have no idea if the camera setup is going to work. The mount that I have my video camera sitting in my tripod with doesn't fit, so it's basically just kind of resting in place. There's very little I can do about that. If I have to adjust the angle we're sitting at, I'm going to have to do so very gingerly, and I may actually drop the camera and process, and if I do, then I guess that footage is just going to stay in the video. So we're going to, because I make mention in other places in the channel of the various dorky things that I am involved in, that I enjoy doing, hobbies of mine, things I like to collect, work on, or whatever. Uh, and those include sewing machines and typewriters. If you can't see what I'm doing because I have the camera angle too high, I'm going to undo what I just did. Ow. And adjust the camera angle. Maybe. A little bit, please. Just a little bit. Don't fall. My little viewing screen that I'm using to kind of gauge what the framing is like is at a weird angle, so it's hard for me to tell what you can actually see and what you can't. But I have here, I'll move it so you can see, this is, I'm going to have to angle it this way perhaps, which will work better when the case is not in the way. But this is a Montgomery Ward Signature 088 manual typewriter. It's in a case which is blocking the vast majority of the light. Because I'm in my wheelchair and because I don't have the luxury of being able to stand and open a case from above, and then take a step off to the side and do all the maneuvering that is required to get the machine out of the case so I can use it. What I do is I take my two half-a-hands. For those of you that don't know, I call them my half-a-hands because about half of the time I only have about half of the use of each one of my hands. So, fun with incomplete quadriplegia. But here we go with my two half-a-hands. I should say more than half of the time I have about half of the use. Sometimes things are just very difficult indeed. So I slide my arm underneath the typewriter, and then I use my elbow on my armrest because I don't have very good core function either, to sort of brace myself backwards and clear of the case. I draw the typewriter into myself as I do, so it doesn't like just flop out of my arm. I have my three mostly functional fingers holding tension on the back of the machine to keep it from slipping too much. So I come back and I reach over, get the case, and then bracing my elbow again on the armrest of my wheelchair, lean forward a little bit, set the typewriter down, and then I just kind of work it off my arm. And then I sort of lift it and fall forward a little bit to put it into place. Let's get the light maybe better. I don't know. Is that better? So here's the typewriter. I don't know how well you can see it. Left hand. We'll see. So what does a person with two half a hands want with any typewriter, much less a vintage manual typewriter? Well, as we who are disabled know, there's workarounds for many things, not everything. But for many things, there's a workaround that we can reasonably achieve with a little bit of exploration and experimentation, and we can make a passable attempt at doing some of the things we might be interested in doing. So here is something that I had started writing. I didn't even start writing it. I got the title, For Such a Time as This, and then I had the sudden evaporation of energy. This was about a week ago, and I took the papers out of the typewriter and put the typewriter away, and this is the first time I've had the typewriter out since then. So I don't think I'm going to be able to duplicate or replicate what I was about to write on this piece of paper with this video, so I'm just going to put it in here and maybe use the title of the thing as the title of the video. I don't know. But I think I'm going to show, by the way, there's two pieces of paper here because this thicker copy paper is going to sit in behind the paper I'm typing on and protect the platen, which is this roller here. I have specialty papers that I bought off of a little shop called Jot and Tittle. Again, not sponsored, on Etsy. Very cool looking designer, yes, an unnecessary luxury. The copy paper works just fine. But the backing paper that I bought from these people not only has cool designs, but it also has a gridded type framing marking system to help you keep your paper aligned well in your machine and help you keep your spot if you have to make corrections or something. But for now, we have what we have. Set my paper in the edge guide. Make sure that my roller is engaged, which it is not. I have to set both sides, otherwise it will just spin and it will stay loose and it won't grab the paper. So edge guide. Roll it through a little bit so I can see the top of the page. Drop my hand a little bit. Kind of see if it's going to go through straight. If I need to make adjustments. This looks pretty good. If I needed to adjust it, then I'd have to release these again and then just manually take the paper and shift it to however I wanted it to go. And I reset the roller, put it back under tension. Let's see. I love the bell on, I love the margin warnings that are on old typewriters, and I have my margins set so that on the right hand side, you're almost to the edge of the paper before the bell goes off. I am going to remedy that because I enjoy the bell so much. To do that, I have to set my left side margin uh, control all the way to 0 before this will release. And then I just slide this over to, we'll say, 60. And I come back over here, I push it down, and I slide this to about 11 on the left hand side. And I straighten out my paper. Reset my roller. Find the edge guide. Start working it through. Check it for straightness. And sort of not really on the typed page. So we make our little adjustment here. And use the roller. Now we should. The carriage return. We have one space off of the left-hand margin, the red line. So that's perfect. We have 3 spaces for an indent. And then we type. This, by the way, is one of 5 typewriters that I have. I have 3 portable ones, 2 of which function, and then I have 2 what they call desktop typewriters. The very old and stately machines that once set on their workstation were not likely to be moved anywhere. These go in cases and they can be carried around more readily. The desktop ones were not meant to be carried around, so they don't come with cases. I have one non-functioning one, which is I think is an old Smith Corona, and then I have another one from the 40s, which is a Remington Rand. Very lovely machine. It does work, it just doesn't have a ribbon. I might do a video showcasing that one at some point, but that's not for today. So, some of the things that I'd like to talk about as I write, and I'm going to try to write something unrelated to what I'm talking about, and the two are probably not going to be related. Maybe they will, I don't know. But I think one of the things that needs to be established first and foremost is that we as disabled people do not need more advocacy. Uh, what we truly need is friendship. We need people to look at us with compassion, to be friendly towards us. We don't need to be a politically charged special interest group. We don't need to be anyone's awareness campaign. We just need to be allowed to be people. And there's something about the disability, especially the disability pride thing, which is nonsense. This disability advocacy push goes a very long way towards dehumanizing disabled people and turns them instead into an ideology, and instead of a living, breathing human being that has um, what most people would consider unimaginable difficulties in their daily lives. Um, this is very hard to do, by the way. To say things of one topic and write things of another. Um, there it is. There's the bell. I have plenty of space, so I'm just going to keep going. Did you hear it? Did you hear the bell? I like the bell. I wish I had a cup of hot coffee here with me to sip as I do this, but alas, I have allowed my coffee to rest too long in front of the fan that you might see over here. You can probably hear it too. Uh, this is a practice shot, in case you don't realize it. This is a practice shot. What I want to do is I want to get a more old-fashioned lamp here in this spot, and I actually have a 1930s, 1940s Mastercraft electric desk fan that's got the cool metal blades and the wire cages and the really low speed. This thing right now is on low speed and it sounds like it's been going gangbusters. It's much noisier than I would have expected a low speed thing to do. It's spinning so fast you can't see the individual blades. But this is the low setting. Um, what I would want to do is get old the vintage fan in that place and then just have it set so that the air is just basically barely moving like they used to use it on the desks of old. And then I can sit here and point it towards me and enjoy the breeze from it a little bit, the moving air, without it interrupting videos I'm shooting or being a distraction. Um, the noise of this fan does sort of help a little with the tinnitus, whatever, but it just kind of drones and it's annoying at some points. But we'll see how the old vintage fan fares in its stead. But we don't need any more advocates. We need friends. We need decent neighbors. We need people in the community that enjoy our company and whose company we enjoy. We need to not be seen by the people we want to hang out with as a constant potential liability. And that's what happens when you go all into advocacy. You got to be careful what we say. We've got to make sure that they don't have any kind of unpleasant experience while they're in our establishment or using our services or whatever, because then we're going to turn into the next talking point on some kind of congressional hearing. And so there is not only resentment, but um, a little bit of underlying suspicion almost on the part of a lot of people if they see or when they see a disabled person come into their establishment. Um, it's kind of like in school in a classroom, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the day, the principal just decides to walk into the middle of the classroom. You don't think that they're there to just hang out and enjoy your company. Something has gone wrong, or something is about to go wrong, and um, there's always a little bit of trepidation whenever the principal walks in the room. And I personally don't want to live in a community where that is the end result of me showing up at someone's shop. Okay, so what I've written so far is what there remains of such things that might be of genuine merit. It is taking me just so hard to write and talk at the same time. Uh, but anyway, uh, did I space? I forgot to space, didn't I? Nope. But I'm basically, if you're watching my hands, if you can see my hands, I don't know if you can see my hands, but I'm basically using my thumb and forefinger, and every once in a great while my middle finger, and this is basically um, a revised. It's a hybrid of the home road technique and hunt and peck. So uh, we might call this hunting from home. Um, it allows me to sort of brace my arms, my elbows a little bit. I'm at the wrong angle really, but normally what I do, because I have everything turned to kind of adjust for the angle of where I place the camera. What I normally do is I brace my elbows um, and then my arm rests, and I lean forward on them to support my upper body because core issues. And then I could probably pull this a little bit closer even. Help you see. I don't know if that helps you see or makes it harder to see, whatever. And then I can pretty much at my leisure just sort of hover, um, counting on the chair to support me, hold me up a little bit, only leaning forward a little bit. I have a different approach for when I use the office chair, obviously, because that isn't configured the way a wheelchair is. But the wheelchair is nice because I have the foot plate, and that sort of, as I lean forward, that sort of lets me lock in a bit and hold my position. Uh, but the bell. I love the bell. Uh-oh. What happened? I have a not letter. Oh, it was serious about the bell. It's not going to let me go. So, old school technology, keeping people honest. Which is a very important reason why I miss the old school technology. The simple, it's not simple at all. There's a lot to be gained from acquainting oneself with these old skills, uh, developing things that we as disabled people need help, especially in getting together for and growing in and maturing in if we're going to handle our daily lives well, because everything is a delay, everything is a burden, everything is troublesome. I think if we pick up hobbies, interests, pastimes, whatever, that do not feed into uh, the dopamine overdose, instant gratification uh, way of life that many people are so tethered to these days, I think we could actually benefit greatly, which is why I set this up for this video. We as people, not only do we need friends instead of advocates, we need to be able to operate inside of lives, how we go about things, our ability to remain free, to eke out the existences that we are able. to, without pressure from the outside, to uh, overcome whatever that means, our disabilities, and perform at a level, uh, to be quite honest, that most able-bodied people can't bother to bring themselves to, just to uh, sort of uh, satiate the consciences of able-bodied people, to give us a public face of, see, we don't need no help, and then the able-bodied people that are supposed to be having, according to Scripture, having a more considerate and compassionate view towards us, they're like, well, see, they don't need me. They don't need anything. Um, so they're off my mind, off of my conscience, and I can just go about living my self-gratifying life. Uh, but this isn't a specifically a heaping coals upon their heads type thing, and not to be mean to people who have very busy lives that they need to be uh, focused on. I'm just saying in terms of how most people who are able-bodied treat um, their expectations of disabled people, how they should live their lives, what their lives should be full of, and everything else. There is an expectation there that uh, that we just stop needing help. We stop having shortcomings or vulnerabilities that other people have to deal with and be considerate of, and that's why there's this huge pressure on disabled people to be quote unquote inspirational. Um, I'll comment on the disability inspiration phenomenon in later videos, not this one. But for now, I just want to encourage disabled people. I'm resting, that's why my hands are hovering over the keys. Uh, to find things that are enjoyable to do, that require some skill, some bit of research to get into, but also in their practical use. Like, in order to do the thing, you have to have patience. You can't um, simply um, hit a key and then all of a sudden the last paragraph of poorly chosen words disappears off the page, and you can just start over as if nothing happened. Real accountability for doing something with attentiveness and with skill from the start, and then having to put in the work of uh, correcting mistakes, um, or revising something. And if that means you're typing double-sided pages and you get 2/3 of the way to the back side of a page and you make a horrible mistake that can't be corrected with a little bit of whiteout, yes, that does mean taking out that entire piece of paper, using it as a reference, and then replacing all of the text that you just typed. Things like this to build patience, to build um, sort of an internal stamina and durability that are going to translate very well into just how we handle the mishaps, the fumblings, the misadventures of our everyday experience without um, a lot of anxiety or, or tension or frustration or impatience or whatever else. I think there are things that we are able to do, like taking up just writing simple lines, poems, whatever, with things like manual typewriters that don't have a lot of features and that do require some basic mechanical skills to operate, or maybe even a hand crank sewing machine. By the way, nope, that's going to be another video. Anyway, but just things like this to let you do things and be creative and everything and feel the autonomy of making decisions in your own life and how you steward your time, but in a way that uh, is actually beneficial to you, that helps you, that nurtures good qualities in your personality that will help you get through your days, nights, whatever, and basically matures you as a person, um, to where you can disengage from this conditioned victim mentality that comes with advocacy, and you can actually grow into a fully developed emotional and intellectual presence as a person that other people will be able to interact with, so that they can start engaging with you as a person and not as a special interest group. Because if we need friends and we want friends, then we have to be able to be a friend. And in order to do that, we have to be able to operate intellectually and emotionally outside of what people are expecting when they see disabled people with their pride flags and with their uh, stickers and all of their whatever, um, and their ADA demands and all this other stuff. Just let's learn how to be more settled people so that we can draw people who would be our friends if they thought they could do so. And then we might actually enjoy many benefits from choosing a different mode of operation than just constant attention to what is lacking and advocacy and trying to force people to take consideration of us. So I hope this was cohesive enough. I'm going to end this video because I want to type. I don't want to talk. But hopefully the information in this video was helpful, uh, useful, and I pray that you consider at least some of these things, whether you're disabled, whether you're able-bodied, or whatever, in relating with members of the other group. And yeah, so I'm going to get some hot coffee now. I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to say that uh, until next time, if there is a next time, and there might not be, God be with you. And remember Hebrews 11:6, without faith it is impossible to please God, because those who come to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him.